Hello, guys. I know you must be wondering, what does a recruiters actually assume whenever they see employment gap in CVs? What do they really assume whenever there is an employment gap in my CV? Now, I'm here to tell you because I'm a real life recruiter and we actually think about these things. And I'm here to tell you what happens anytime we see your CV and we can see that, you worked last in the year 2024 and this is currently 2026. We are wondering, okay, what happened within this period of time, right? There are a lot of thoughts that go through our head, and I'm here to tell you what these thoughts are because, the first thing recruiters ask you whenever they come across your CV, once you hop into an interview and the introduction is done, the next thing you will hear is what happened between this period. In my first times in recruitment, or my first period of years in recruitment, not few years, first period of months in recruitment, I always shortlist people when I interview them and I feel like, oh, this is a perfect candidate. This is my best candidate. I shortlist them, I shortlist their CV. And whenever I take it to my hiring manager, or whenever I take it to my manager would look at the CV and the question they will ask me is, did you ask this person what they were doing from this year to this year? What was the thing they were doing? I'll be like, oh, I did not ask. They will tell me, call the person, interview the person again, and ask the person what they were doing during this period. It is an answer you're supposed to have. So, what do we really assume when we see that employment gap in your CV that you've worked this year last and within this period of time you've not worked? It could be 8 months, it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years, depending on when last you worked. But here is what we actually think. If this is your first time hopping on this channel or coming across my video, my name is Cynthia. I'm a real life recruiter. I review CVs, I hire candidates. I'm always involved in things that has to do with job. So if it's something that interests you or you're just curious to know how recruiters view things or how hiring people view things, hiring managers, how we view things, you're in the right place. All right. If you're also a recruiter, you can hop into the channel. If you have questions, probably under the comment section, you could give answers. We are just here to help. Our job is majorly to help job seekers. So if it's the first time you are approaching this channel and this is something that interests you, hit on that subscribe button right there. So you join the family and so you don't miss the next video we have to post. All right. All right. So let's hop into the topic for today. So today we are talking about what recruiters actually assume whenever they see an employment gap in your CV. So when I see an employment gap in your CV, the first thing that comes to my head is, was this person fired? Yes, that's the first thing we assume. Was this person fired in their last job? Why are they still unemployed up to now? Are they even good? Were they fired? All right, that's the first thing that comes to our head. Were they really fired? So we start asking ourselves because if there is a gap, definitely we humans are going to fill that gap. All right, because it's not really peculiar to just recruiters, it is peculiar to everybody. Once there is a gap, once there is a gap or a question unanswered, you tend to fill it with your own thoughts unless being told otherwise, right? So that is what we do as recruiters. Whenever we see it, we assume that this person was doing a very good job before. They were working in a very good company. The industry was good. So what happened? Were you fired? Did they lay you off? And if you were fired, what really happened? Why did they fire you? So we assume a lot of things even before we get on a conversation with you. We assume a lot of things. So if this period that you were actually not really engaged in any company, you had something you were doing, the best thing to actually avoid this assumption of ours is to state whatever you were doing this period. I've seen some people write caregiving in their CV. I've seen people say, oh, a CEO of a barbing salon. I've heard quite some personal development things on people's CV just so they will fill that gap and not make recruiters arrive at a conclusion or an assumption. All right. So when we see that question, we always ask ourselves, was this person fired? Did they lay you off? What happened? Why did they lay you off? So that's why whenever we hop on interviews with you, we tend to ask you what happened between this period or what have you been doing since this time. And trust me, if you don't give us a very good answer, that's why my manager had to ask me that period, go back and ask them. Because if I go back to ask you, as at the time I was learning, if I go back to ask you what was the reason why you were unemployed this period, and the answer you give me is a vague answer or is not something that sits well. If I go back to my manager and tell my manager, okay, the person said they were not doing anything, they've just been job hunting, a manager will tell me, no, cancel this person from the shortlist. That's exactly how they do it. They'll tell you, cancel this person. But if you tend to tell us that, okay, that period, the office locked down or the office closed down, or that period of time, we had to, that period of time, they laid a lot of people off, so they had to let us go. So since then, I've been trying to manage a barbering salon, or I've been working in a store close by. I've been helping them manage some of their goods, or I've been just some things, or maybe you've been learning a course, you've just been involved with freelancing jobs, just something that will make us feel like, okay, you were not idle. Because that idleness, that gap within that a year, 2 years, that gap there could make us either shortlist you or not. Because the reason we ask this question is because once we move it to our clients, that's the first question our clients ask. What were you doing? Or if our client hops on the call with you, the question they'll ask you is what happened this period? What were you doing? What happened first? And then what were you doing during this period that this happened? All right. So instead of making us arrive at an assumption or something, just go ahead and put whatever you were doing as an experience. You can put the duration of time, just the way you put your work experience. You can also put it in that section of your CV and put the duration of time you were doing it. Or if you're still on it, you can put it present so that we know that, okay, this person was not idle, they are involved in this. If you are freelancing, you can write it there, freelancing, you talk about what you were freelancing. And yeah, we keep that going instead of allowing us arrive at an assumption. All right. So the second thing that we always assume whenever we see an employment gap in your CV is this person probably has lost their professional momentum. What do I mean by that? I mean, probably this person is not professional enough anymore. Probably this person cannot deliver anymore. Yes, this person worked as a business development manager, and the person knows the market, and the person knows what clients to look for, and knows how to generate new leads. And they've used certain tools during that year. And let's say the person worked last 2 years ago. So we are assuming in our head as recruiters, are you sure this person really still understands the market? Within the period of 2 years, some AI tools has come to place. Some people they've adapted into using AI to help their job. Has this person learned any new tool or any new skill that will make them be able to deliver in this job? We know that previously, 2 years ago, the person was capable, the person has the experience, but right now, can we really vouch for this person that this person would deliver? Yes, your professional momentum, is it still there? Can you walk this walk? As a recruiter, if I stop recruiting for a period of 1 year, I myself, I'll start doubting if I still know the job, because a lot of things are coming into play. A lot of processes are coming into play. A lot of things are there to consider because you're supposed to understand these people you're talking with. There are a lot of tools coming into play. So there are a lot of learnings you're doing. One thing I know as a recruiter is recruiters are always in the process of learning. A lot of things we are learning. We are not just learning in our career, we are also learning about your career. We are learning new things about accountants, because I might be hiring for an accountant role today. My clients will give me their JD, maybe with period of 6 months, accountant JDs look the same. I always know what accountant JDs, what they are expecting. They look the same except for one or two differences from different clients, their preferences. But then one day a new accountant position comes up, the client sends the JD, and I'm looking at the JD. The JD looks a little bit different from the normal JD I know. There is something new they've added. So I have to learn about that particular thing they've added. If the client is looking for someone that has this particular experience and is not the normal experience I know about accountants, I have to go and learn what this particular thing is all about, because I'm not going to be asking you if I don't know it. So as a recruiter, I have to always be in the process of learning about different careers. I have to learn your career. I have to learn the new thing that has entered your career. I have to learn the terms in your career. And trust me, during interview process, I know we don't say this a lot. We learn a lot during interview process. Sometimes when I interview some accountants, there are some new words, there are some words they use, and there are candidates that do this. Some candidates are always fond of this. When they realize that you're a recruiter, it's not really, you're not an accountant and you're not the company themselves, they tend to use this word. They tend to use this word. I don't know if you know this, but they will try to explain what they are trying to explain to you, but they are trying to tell you that I'm not sure you know what I'm trying to say or the term I'm trying to use. Do you get? They tend to use that word on you that you're a recruiter, you don't know. But recruiters actually know a lot. That's one thing you don't know, because we interview a lot of people in these fields, and we tend to have heard these things over and over. And sometimes you can hear a new term and you browse it immediately. Most times when I'm interviewing people, I'm in front of my laptop. So if there's any term you use, I feel like it's not something I'm conversant with, and I want to understand what you're trying to say before probably asking you, or yeah, explain this further, or maybe you're trying to explain it, but I want to understand it better. I go ahead and do my browsing research and I get my answers. But yeah, that is it. For such profession as recruitment, or such profession as HR, or such profession as marketing, YouTube, we have to actually wonder if this person still knows their professional momentum, if they can actually still work in a professional place. If you now tell us, okay, during that period, you were acquiring a course that has to do with the profession you're looking at, you were trying to learn some new things, you were freelancing, but still on that field, it makes us feel like, okay, this person still knows what they are doing. They are still in the game, right? So most times you can just put this in your CV, as I said earlier, just to prevent us from, arriving at an assumption, because this assumption, trust me, doesn't favor candidates. It doesn't favor a lot of candidates. And when we ask you the question and you don't know what the answer is to that question or the best way to answer it, my dear, we might move ahead. So if you really want us to make another video to tell you what answers to give, or the best answers you could give in terms of what have you been doing during this period, you want us to probably talk about how to structure your answer, how to give them the best answer, give them or give us, the recruiters, the best answer. If that's a video you want me to make, go ahead and comment, make the video, and definitely I'll make it. All right. So the third point we are going to be talking on is, the recruiters might think that you don't really want to work. We might think that you don't really want to work because you are wondering, why have you been unemployed for 2 years, 3 years? Why have you been unemployed? You might even assume that if we call you, you might not even be the best person to give us positive reply. You might keep drawing us back, probably because you don't want to get employed currently. Maybe you just submitted your CV, just freelancingly just submitted your, let me just submit my CV. Just freelancingly just submitted your CV. Okay, let me just try. That's some of the assumptions we arrive at. We just feel like, okay, this person is just trying to see how it works, or maybe they're just trying to do some trial and error with their CV. That's how we recruiters feel whenever we see employment gaps in your CV. We are like, are you serious? Are you not serious? Let us know. That's why we always don't forget to ask that question. We don't skip that question in any interview. That's why, as I'm interviewing you, your CV is in front of me, and if I notice that there is an employment gap, that question I will never, there is nothing that will make me forget to ask you that question, because my manager had a lot of issues with me anytime I forget to ask that question. So it doesn't skip my mind to ask you, what were you doing this period, or what happened this period. So you see, when you have that gap and you don't fill it up, we can arrive at, maybe you are not a serious person, and then we now come on an interview with you, you're not sounding serious. That's the end of it for you, my dear. That's the end of it. But yeah, that is the assumption that we recruiters arrive at whenever we see an employment gap. But mind you, an employment gap does not really determine whether you fail the interview or you will not fail. The response you give us whenever we ask the question, what happened or what were you doing this period, will determine if you're going to actually go forward with this job or not. That is it for the end of this video. If this video is something that interests you, hit that like button, comment on the video you want us to do next, or something you want us to talk on, and don't forget to subscribe. It does not cost money. Hit on that subscribe button, because I want us to grow. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep talking about things like this, but I can't keep doing it if I feel like people are not queuing in, people are not liking, they're not subscribing. I feel like, okay, probably I'm just wasting my time. Maybe something I should keep to myself. So if it's something that interests you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you join the family. I know that, okay, I have a community that wants to hear me. All right. So that is it for the end of this video. For now, Rick and Cynthia says, bye bye.